Iron runs out, copper runs out, even oil becomes less productive. But one tiny lake can supply a Factorio factory forever. So should water run out too? Factorio doesn't really simulate how much water is stored inside a lake. An offshore pump simply uses a water tile as an endless source. The lake never shrinks, its water level never drops, and a small pond is effectively just as infinite as an ocean. But it didn't have to work this way. Lakes could behave more like resource patches. Small ponds could support only a limited factory, larger lakes could last much longer, and heavily used water sources could slowly dry up. Suddenly water would become a real logistical problem. Once a lake started running low, you would need to find another source, build a pumping outpost, and transport the water back within pipes or fluid trains. Large lakes would become viable strategic locations instead of just scenery. And honestly, that sounds very Factorio. You already replaced depleted mining outposts, you already transport ore, oil, and fuel across the map. Finite water could create similar logistics, but also entirely new engineering problems: backup tanks, low water alarms, emergency pumping stations, separate power for unloading water trains, and redundant supply routes in case one lake runs dry. Of course, it could also be brutal. If an iron mine runs out, part of your production slows down. But if the lake supplying your steam engines disappears, the entire factory could lose power. And without backup electricity, the pumps unloading your emergency water train would not work either. But maybe that is not a flaw, maybe this is the challenge. A careful player could store emergency water, keep a small backup power grid, and design the system so one dry lake should never shut down the entire factory. Factorio is already a game about preventing failures before they happen. Modders have already created versions of Factorio where lakes can run dry. So finite water is not impossible, it is simply a different design choice. More maintenance, but also more automation, planning, and logistics. Infinite water keeps the game simple and reliable, but finite lakes could make water trains, backup systems, and the location of every power plant much more important. It would definitely be harder, but it could also be more interesting. What do you think? Should water stay infinite, or should Factorio make us engineer more around water too?